Hi guys, I'm Casey.
And I'm Claudia.
We're your founders of Backpacks and Beat Drops. We're so excited to be sitting down with Kelly Gray and Andrew Parsons, the founders of Seismic Dance Event. If you guys haven't seen Seismic or seen the lineup yet, definitely go check it out. Right when we saw the lineup, we knew 100% that this was the first festival that we wanted to attend together since the pandemic. So thank you guys so much for sitting down with us and thank you for making this festival happen.
We wanted to start just with the story of how you guys met in general and how you became business partners.
I'll let her take that one. She's good at it.
Okay, so I mean, let's see. There's the long version.
Yeah, right.
No.
The abridged version.
Yeah, I guess we've been together officially since 2008. So right now it's 2021. It's 12. So we're going 13 years. But we were friends for a couple years prior to that. We were both we're really involved in like the Austin scene here, and he was a DJ and promoting for a company that threw shows, and then I was helping promote for that for those shows, and then I started my own dance group, so we were performing for a lot of those events, and then yeah, it was just kind of by being in that whole scene, being immersed and just always hanging out and all of that, eventually became more serious. And then like the very next year we started throwing shows, and you know, as artists, we were always a part of shows and as promoters and all of that, but you start to have like, you know, where there's a hole, and like there was artists that we could be bringing to Austin that were different and not as typical as the typical market would bring. So that's where it started. It's just like a passion project, and it's always been a passion thing. Just bringing artists that were rising, like up and coming art acts, and then it just kept growing from there. So we've been throwing shows since 2009. So now we're going on our 12th year, I believe.
12th year,
yeah. And it was, you know, club shows, and we were partners with a venue called Kingdom, which was like an awesome venue here, but that closed in 2018. So we've been throwing shows at various other venues, and then we started doing like large scale events and festival stuff like that, and then we started Seismic. So we'd been building up, like we had the name and the concept in mind, and I guess I'm probably going too far now from the question.
I mean, we're obviously these questions.
How we got here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious because we have a lot of followers who have some sort of side passion that they're working on while maintaining like a full-time gig. So at what point did you figure out it was time to focus full-time on RealMusic Events?
So, I mean, I actually started focusing on it a bit earlier than she did, because she had a much more serious job working for Google for a few years. So like, what year was it that I started really?
Yeah, he was the first one that got to, you know, go full time. Yeah. I don't even know how many years ago that was, but
yeah, we went to Costa Rica. Was it our honeymoon? Or
yeah, it was our honeymoon.
And then we're like, oh, we're on our honeymoon in Costa Rica. We're like, you know, I think we need to really focus on this stuff instead of like, you know, trying to, because at the time I was an Apple technician, so I was lead technician, like repairing Apple products and stuff all the time. So, and I was like, well, yeah, I can start doing that and then focus on that, and then I'm
like, well, I've still got my like good source of income, so why don't you start focusing, and then eventually later I'll follow.
Yeah.
So I was still working on it, but like I had Google, and then my dance group. I also am a costume designer, so I make our shit, and then promoting it, and then doing our social media and marketing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So eventually, and you know, what Seismic was going, it was too much.
Yeah.
So
and she just left. Well,
in September of 2019, I took the leap, and I was like, we're gonna totally just fully focus.
Okay, so that wasn't too long ago, but yeah, I don't know how you guys were able to.
I don't know
how she was just like all the stuff we do for Seismic, and I even think all the time, I'm like, I don't know how she was able to do. I mean, because at Google, it was a very intense like project and stuff that she was on. It wasn't like just I work at Google, I'm doing nothing. Yeah. It was like very intense. Plus, this is very intense, so I don't know how she got it done, but she did.
That's really impressive.
I mean, when you are really passionate about something, you
make the time.
Make it work.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you need the financial stability. And so once you get to the point where you're like, okay, I've invested enough time and energy into this that I think if I make the leap, we'll be able to make it work. And so that's just, you know, the mindset is just making it work.
Yeah. And that was definitely for people that are passionate about something, and they're, you know, obviously have full-time jobs and stuff too. I mean, I mean, literally everything that we made from our normal jobs and from events, I mean, we pretty much put it all back into the business, and we pretty much have, since the inception of it. So, because like she said, it's always been a very passion driven thing. So it's like, we're just steady building and just putting things into it and then, carrying on. So
what is the dynamic, like business partner versus your
like
relationship, married couple? Do you guys?
Don't talk to me after 6 p.m.
Yeah,
No, it's pretty fluid, like just because we eat, sleep.
Yeah, to rave, repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have pretty good boundaries in terms of like having our own personal relaxing time, and like you can only do so much if you're going, all day long. Like your brain just needs some like blocks in time where it's not thinking about work. So we watch a lot of like shows and movies together and all of that, and just throughout our day we're working on doing our things and asking each other questions or whatever and just going along. So it's a pretty natural rhythm, and as a couple we're actually very attached at the hip, not like in an annoying way, it's just it's how it is.
It's not annoying to us.
So it always
everyone else. No, I feel like, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, just with, the saying always is, you shouldn't mix work with your relationships. That seems to be like a very prevalent thing. A lot of people say you shouldn't work with your spouse or whatever. But I mean, I think the reason why we even got together originally anyway is we're so passion driven by the same things. Like we're very, very similar. Like we like the same things and we do the same things. Like we're kind of the same person. So, it's like it just works because that's why we work and that's why we can work together.
But I won't say that it doesn't get heated sometimes, especially when like
Of course.
it's very busy times or time to work on all the finances and why aren't you tracking this right and blah blah blah. I tell you every time. Tax time is the best. But yeah, I mean, otherwise it's pretty good and just normal, a good rhythm.
Yeah, you guys have definitely made it work. Like you've clearly been really successful, especially with Seismic. It's quite new. Like what would you attribute the success to, having just launched the festival like 3 years ago now? It's like if we
something like
that. Yeah.
The first year was 2018, then 2019, and then the third year was supposed to be in 2020, but moved to May. But I think it's in part because it was a spawn of like RealMusic Events, and so we already have an established brand of throwing shows and bringing artists to this market. So we have a really strong community here.
Yeah.
So it kind of just naturally transitions into like Seismic and all of that. And there aren't any like boutique house and techno specific festivals of this type in like the southern US. So you'll see stuff like this in California or like sometimes New York and like overseas and obviously like movement and all of that. But in terms of this part of the US, it's just there isn't much like that. So there's a lot of more mainstream dance music and all of that. And there had been a lot more bass heavy stuff in like other cities in Texas, but I feel like it fills a void in a nice way.
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously, like she said, I mean, we've been doing this for a long time. So, I mean, that was a big step for us for sure. I mean, it was always like our goal, right? Like eventually we're going to do a festival one day. And, I mean, she kind of came up with the concept and everything. I mean, we've been talking about it for years. Like, what will it be? And she came up with the concept. And then it was kind of like, we just got to do this thing. Like, let's just do it. And I won't say it wasn't scary as shit because it really was fucking scary. But it's like, we've been doing events for, at the time, 10 years is like this kind of the next step. And so I think that definitely helps. And, I'm a DJ first. So like, I love music first. Like that's where I start. And then, that's kind of how the lineup comes about is because, we're music enthusiasts. We love music. So we book things that we like. We're not just booking talent because they sell tickets. We're booking it because we fucking like it. We want to hear it, So
he's a talent buyer. So like it plays into that the DJ side of things and just being in tune with what's coming and what's hot and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be the coolest thing about having a festival is just booking the music you'd want.
Yeah, who you want to bring and who you want to see.
Yeah, it's good enough because sometimes it's like we get so busy at the festival, we're missing a lot of the sets we want to see.
All the artists I want to see.
Yeah, like maybe I should be. I don't get to fucking see it.
Yeah, I feel that. I work music festivals too, just like VIP production and coordination, and I know the feeling when it's like you're so busy doing something and like. Yeah,
especially like day one. It's like, you're
Day
like
one's
figuring
crazy.
everything out day one, you know, so it's
Tweaking things,
Yeah.
running around like a crazy person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, is the lineup complete as is?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, there's one artist that I didn't say this, but that we announced and then they made us unannounce them. And so right now it's question marks. If you search hard enough, you'll see.
You can figure it
You
out.
can figure out who it was.
Oh,
But yeah, and then we were planning on adding a third stage for like more like a few secret sets. Like some of the headliners will be playing a second set, and then also a lot of regional talent stuff. But we haven't announced that yet. So
Yeah, that's the part. But as far as like the main lineup, that's final.
yeah.
well, it's beautiful. We love it.
I've been the lineup. Have you guys heard of House Divided?
Yeah, the artist.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I just want to put them on your radar because based on what you guys put together, I feel like you really vibe with them. I think they're genius producers. They're probably like my top two right now, like right under Kyle Watson.
Nice.
So we love
Like,
Kyle.
love sharing new music.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's one of our favorite sounds is like in the house side of things is the Kyle Watson type of sound.
Yeah.
So.
What's your vision for Seismic 3.3?
Just kind of like in comparison to previous years,
Yeah.
like ways you see it
Well,
growing.
Yeah, I mean, we love the lineup and all of that, and also aesthetically, for kind of like the digital assets, we did like a shift to like a more clean slate, a lot more black and white and stuff. So I was excited to kind of reveal that also in a new form, like once you're at art installations and the stage and just the general vibe and merch and all of that. That was something that was just like a new, fresh take.
Yeah.
But then I would say the biggest thing that's different is that this is a COVID formatted event. So the original 3.0 wasn't supposed to be. That was supposed to be in May 2020. And then, we had to move it once and we had to move it again. So now we're on version 3.3. And that's COVID friendly. So we take the pandemic seriously, but a lot has changed and a lot of like formatting and structure has become like available so that we can start to do these things. And one thing that plays in our favor is that Seismic has always been like a boutique, like intimate festival.
Yeah.
So whereas some major festivals have like tens of thousands up to like 100,000 people like a day, we've always been like much smaller, like under 5,000. So we're like, all right, if we cap it at 2,500, it's much more feasible to do this for COVID, and we can do what's necessary working with like our public health and safety partners and like the county and all of that. So having pods, so that's gonna be different. It's a different experience.
Yeah.
It's not like the full blown, but we can't have the full blown. That's something that we can look forward to, but it's nice to be able to like get back into like experiencing like live music and artists and those vibes and all of that. So it'll be different, but it'll be good.
Yeah. I mean, we almost feel obligated to make it happen. It's like, I feel like, so many festivals are calling it quits, at least until, they're moving it or whatever. And I mean, it's definitely something that obviously has crossed our mind. I mean, we even have backup dates out, but it's like, we just feel like because it's so small and intimate, like we have an opportunity.
If you do all the things right, it
Yeah.
can happen. We should make it happen to set a precedent that like
that it can happen.
can adapt if we need to, not being reckless or anything like that, but we can adapt with like the reasonable like adjustments and structure and organization to still let people experience the arts. And it's not just a party. It's like people are very passionate and this is their lifestyle and it's what they're, how they're able to like take a breather and just enjoy their lives.
Yeah.
And it brings a different sense to people who are passionate about this thing. And I feel like there are the tools now to be able to make it happen and we can proceed and do that, set a good standard.
I might cry. That's like what we wanted to hear. Like it's been so long since we've been to a live event, and if this is going to be our future, like thanks so much for putting in the effort to make it happen and like prove that we can do this safely and get to see Kyle Watson live.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys, and I know so many other people in the community do too. Like we've been waiting so long to get back to what we love so much. So you guys are amazing for being able to help make it possible. So thank you.
Would you guys have any hot tips maybe for others looking to put on events while COVID is still a thing?
Yeah. So we have actually done some, like smaller scale, like normal events, like during this pandemic. So obviously the first like 7 months or so, we weren't doing any events. And then you start to figure out like everyone has a better grasp of how this virus works and all of that. So We started with these like brunch events where you like buy like a brunch ticket, and it's like a dining experience. There were like 3-course meals. It's outside in this like really beautiful lush garden, and then we have like a DJ playing. So it was nice. People finally got to like hear music and like feel
Loud
those
music.
feelings again, you know, but do it safely. And so we're like, cool. And, you know, it starts working out, but you also have to have rigor around it.
Yeah.
You can't be sloppy. So you need to ensure like people are wearing masks when they're like not at their own table and when they're navigating around. And like, I became a designated mask police officer, like
from that.
put your mask back on. Then, you know, like you start off all nice, like, hey, put your mask back on. And then
nice.
most people are good, but then sometimes you get some repeat offenders. You're like, hey, we're very serious about this. Yeah. Like we're not, like we should do everything we can to ensure we can keep having these nice things. And if these are the parameters, let's follow them, you know, until things go back
to normal. One person can ruin it for everyone.
Exactly. You can be so cautious, but if you're not and reckless, that's so much more damage, you know? So like, it's better to be much more cautious than it is to be not cautious enough.
Yeah.
So.
It's been really frustrating too. I mean, cause we're in Texas, obviously, so it's a little different than most of the rest of the country, you know? So you have a lot of places in Texas that are doing events and don't seem to really give a shit. And so every time we do it, you know, we're very strict, like she said, like masks, like we hire extra security, like we're all over it, you know? And it's really disheartening to see people not take it seriously. Because
then it's just a bad look for the entire like industry, entertainment, music, and all of that. And that's the next thing. So we started with those brunch parties, and then we went back to doing some events at like Cedar Street Courtyard is where like our club shows were. And, you know, normally that can be like 750 to 800 people. Well, we're like, all right, how can we do this in the safest way possible? So we reduced it to 20%, which is even less than like we're allowed to be doing.
You technically can do 75%.
It goes back and forth between like 50 and 75, but just with their layout, the way it is, and like it's a show. So they've got like 2 indoor areas and an upstairs and a courtyard, but most people want to be in the courtyard so they can see the stage. Yeah. So that's what we counted our capacity on, and then ensuring that there's enough tables and chairs for people. So we have people like find a spot and then wear their masks and just reduce as much risk as possible. And it's worked. It's very stressful because you want to make sure there aren't any slip ups and that it's not reckless or anything. So like you said, you bring extra security to specifically watch for masks the entire time, because you don't want people getting up and navigating and they're like, hey, and people start drinking and all of that. So they get a little sloppy. And so you do need to really like stay on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the long end, but
I mean, that's great. Exactly.
There's some tips
kind of what we're looking for, though. What would you guys say is your biggest or like proudest accomplishment in the music scene?
I would, there's 2, I guess now. The first was Seismic itself, because, you know, we had RealMusic and that's our baby and like our parent company, but getting to finally produce your festival and do like heightened production, you know, that you never have gotten to do before, and really put your vision to life, that's been super cool. Yeah. And getting to spread further than just like our local market, because, you know, people fly in for that. So that's been nice. Yeah. And then the next one is our own venue. And while we were partners of this other small spot in the past, like this is like our big project, and we actually haven't even announced like all of the details about it. So that's actually coming in the next couple weeks. Yeah. But it's very exciting. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So Andrew, you said you DJ, right?
Yep.
Do you play Seismic?
Did I play? Yeah, I basically play it every time, but it's like she has to convince me to put myself on the lineup. I'm usually like myself off, and she's like, "Why aren't you on there?" I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'll put myself on there." And I put myself like very early, like the first person to play, because you just get so.
But like the last day.
Yeah, usually like the last day.
We're too busy the whole time.
Yeah, we're just too busy usually. Yeah, so I put myself usually like the last day, the earliest slot, and I'll play. It's nice. I mean, that's my passion, right? So. But you know,
and I have my dance group, and I handle the performers also for the festival, and awesome. It's like depressing because I'm really passionate about like dancing too, and very selective of like what artists and stuff I get to play our dance for. And obviously we're bringing all of our favorite like artists, so I would love to be able to dance. And I'm usually like last year I was like, okay, I'll have to be busy dealing with the event like the first day, but by the second day, I'll suit up. And then I end up just being too busy that I just can't do it. And I was like, damn it, I was supposed to dance.
she's in the back sewing like nonstop.
Yeah.
People are asking her questions.
But then I'm on the walkie-talkie.
Walkie-talkie's going off. She's like running around.
Yeah.
You guys do it all.
That's amazing.
So
Blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Do you have, oh, I mean, well, we're gonna say if you have any other plans for Real Music Events coming up. I know you
guys
just said you
kinda covered
announced
that already with the new venue.
Yeah.
Super
The new
excited.
venue's
Yeah.
the big thing.
That's the big thing. And then we've got a few, we took a break again because we were in stage 5 here locally. So we're like, we didn't feel safe doing events. I mean, other people were doing them, but we were like, well, let's wait till we're out of stage 5 and back into stage 4.
It's not that we didn't feel safe, because I felt like with our format, it's still like low risk because you're making everyone keep their masks on and it's out like open air. But we just felt like because we were in the worst stage, like the focus needed to be on like, let's stop our people's behaviors of going out and mingling. Let's focus on like the community improving. So we took a hiatus, and next weekend is our first shows back again.
Yeah. So we've got like a few things, like very small basically back at Cedar Street. And then, hopefully the venue announced stuff will be.
We also have a boutique. So that's also been taking our time.
Oh yeah. About that.
Real Music, Real Fashion. So if you go to like realmusicrealfashion.com, that's like the online version, but we have like a in-store boutique, and it was supposed to open like right before COVID hit. And then, so our last show, like when Austin got its first confirmed cases, we had Carl Cox. And then that weekend we were supposed to open the boutique and like do our grand opening. And then, COVID hit. So we're like, so then we stayed closed for months, opened, then closed again during stage 5 and the holidays, just to focus on like the holidays and Seismic and our venue and all of that. It's been crazy. So now we're reopening again. So it's just all of these things at the same time.
Yeah, we feel that. We were actually in the process of digitizing a backpack design last
so it just takes so much.
And it was one of those things where we finally were like, okay, this is it. This is what we're doing with our brand. Like we see so many things that can be improved with the existing product. We're going to do this so well. Had all the resources we needed, and then got completely shut down. So
Exactly it. Because
we'll figure it out.
It's same on this side. It's like I'm very passionate about like the fashion side of things, and have been wanting to like up our merch game, and I design and I want to have more of my stuff and all. Like I see everything I need to do, but then you just end up being so busy because it's not just that. Like, and I also like doing our social media stuff and like marketing things, and then like everything just takes so long. I feel like everything I'm doing
longer than you think it's going to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I know.
Hard to find good help, honestly. So
and it's like your baby too. It's really hard to pass off.
It
is.
Exactly.
It's hard to delegate, but then and then it's hard to find the right people. And so we have a few clutch team members that like we work with, but when COVID really impacted that, when you don't have revenue coming in, and so now we're inching back into like all of that. So it's been interesting.
For sure, to say the least.
Interesting for everyone.
Yeah.
We have like a little fun speed round of questions we want to ask you guys. You guys can each answer. What was the first show that you ever went to?
Oh, Jesus.
I know.
I do remember. I went to a Scooby-Doo Crew New Year's Eve event. I was like 13.
Was that your first like concert or dance music show?
That's my first dance music show, I guess. My first
Scooby-Doo
Crew.
Scooby-Doo Crew. It was like a underground kind of a thing, and it was like 1999 to 2000.
It's a crew in Houston. They would throw like raves and stuff.
Okay, that makes more sense to me. I'm imagining.
Scooby-Doo.
I was a little concerned.
My first like dance music experience wasn't like a headliner. It was this thing called Enchanted Forest in Austin, and it's what it sounds like. And it was Halloween night, and it was my freshman year at UT. So I went to like the University of Texas, and that was my first experience with like electronic dance music, like as an event and a whole little entity. And I was like, what is all this? Shop. Yeah. And then, then I went home and we always laugh about this story, but I'd go on whatever LimeWire, BearShare and download anything like electronic dance music. Like, how do I start? I just, how to learn and like find everything I could.
Yeah.
So it just started from there. And then I would go to every single like show in Austin at the time. That's kind of how the scene was. Like there weren't 3 things happening in one night. It's like this is happening this weekend and blah blah blah. So I'd go to the shows and then the raves at this ghost ranch and all of that. So that's kind of where it started for me.
Oh, love it.
How about your favorite set you've ever seen?
Oh,
Okay, I can think of two. It's very hard to quantify because we have lots of favorite sets.
Yeah.
But
okay.
One that was like the most crazy was actually, and this is not just a shameless plug, but it's when we had Eric do his Cyrus D set last year and our volcano stage, and he brought his own like LD, and so it's our production and everything, but it was just like a masterpiece in terms of everything that was happening. You're just like, wow. And that's where you get like chills because you're fully immersed in like everything coming together in the best possible way. And so that was a revolutionary experience. And then another one was a special experience was like Lane 8 on Holy Ship. It was a sunrise set.
We were there. Well, I was there. I don't think she was there that year, but I was there for that. Yeah.
It was so good, right? I got little chills because it was so good. And a lot of our friends, you know, there's a big ship fam community here in Austin, and a ton of our friends were there, and it was just a very like emotional experience, like good music, but like it felt very soul enriching. And so we all talk about that as being like one of our favorite sets.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with those two also.
They're great answers though. Who is your guys' favorite artist?
Can't do that one. we can try. There's just so many and so many different sounds. That's the thing, is we're not like pigeonholed into like one particular
myself.
He actually really go check it out. But
is your DJ name?
Not so much plug either, huh?
What's your DJ name?
Just my name, Andrew Parsons.
Okay. Yeah, if you go to his SoundCloud, he's like a lot of really good sets, and so that truly is my favorite sound because we're so aligned in terms of what we like. And you know, he'll do like some fun housey sets like that are more like party feel, but then there's also a lot of more like intelligent, like melodic stuff that you know, speaks to the interview more. And so there's a good like combination of all of that. So.
And there's just so many artists we actually like.
You know, we kind of see it in terms of like the
Seismic lineup or the artists. Those are our favorite artists.
There's like the melodic techno side of things. It's hot right now. And so, you know, we really like Art Bat and Mathame.
I love Art Bat right now too.
Yeah, like those are big. And then, you know, like on the house side, some of our favorite artists are Kyle Watson and Justin Martin is clutch. Like I've always loved his sets. Kills it, He always has some of our favorite sets.
Every time we've seen him too.
Yeah. He's like incredible live. Like, I mean, I'm glad he's making music again, but like, I've never been disappointed when I see him live. I mean, he's just like, he's a whole different kind of an animal compared to most DJs I feel like live. He's really good.
And then there's the artists like Sasha and Yours Vorn and I don't know, just that whole side of things. So the more progressive types of artists.
Yeah. So many.
I don't know. There's just so many. Because like we're not on an interview. We're like, oh yeah, I could have said this person.
Yeah.
I know there's so many. We're so blessed to have such.
Yeah, I'm like a deer in headlights when people ask me that. Like, oh, who are you? I'm like,
how much time do you have?
Always like,
yeah.
What about favorite venue?
Our new venue that we're opening.
It will be our new venue.
So many flags. Like,
do you think that like all your experience that you know that it needs to be? But aside from that,
I mean, I loved where we did Seismic last year at the Statesman, Austin American Statesman. It was really fucking cool. I mean, it's just
that's
a cool
not like
space.
An established like venue. Because that's a place that that's actually the Austin like newspaper. And so they have this like vacant warehouse where they used to stack the newspapers. So we transformed it, but that's not like a venue. So let's think of not ourselves.
I'm just saying it was a cool space.
Our favorite venue actually used to be Kingdom, the place that we used to throw our shows at. But for real, it's a very special place. It was like intimate, so only 300 people. But we would have people like Eric Prydz and all these artists play this very intimate set. So you get something more special because it's not like a huge thing where there's too many people, you know. But it's not a venue, but we always really enjoy like going to like the like Holy Ship and now Friendship stuff, just because you know you unplug. You're not like connected on your phone. Everyone is like disconnected, so you're only living in what's happening, and there's so many different little things going on, and a lot of your friends and stuff. So it's just special in that sense. So that's one of our most special things we like to go to.
Yeah, and I've never been, but I've seen a lot of videos at Printworks, and Printworks looks pretty dope.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I would like it.
It's on my list.
Yeah,
so,
same.
Yeah, so we're broke and we only have the free version of Zoom. So just we may be getting cut off. So did want to wrap the interview up, and thank you guys again so much for meeting with us. You guys are so delightful.
So great meeting you guys.
Yeah. And congrats on all the success. Really excited to be at Seismic in May very soon.
Yeah. Counting down the days.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to meet you guys, and I
for sure.
appreciate y'all for reaching out and find us on our socials and all of that too.
You're gonna have to help us with the festival now. Sorry.
Yeah, you're probably have to work now.
You didn't even have to ask.
Yeah. I'll be backstage sewing with you.
What's the husband?
It
It was really good meeting you guys.
too.
Again, best of luck with everything, and hopefully we'll see you guys in May.
Yeah,
Thanks.
definitely.
We'll see you in May.
Yeah, we will see you.
Yeah, great. Better behind stage on my side.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.